Hello again, guys. This is Michael Cheek with MikesGuitarLessons.com, and we're going to start we're continuing Free Fallin', and this is the cover by John Mayer. I'm going to try to finish the intro in this video, and that means this is the second video for the intro, so you want to watch the first one before you get to this one. So watch that first video for the intro. That's the one I also put on YouTube, and after that, you can watch this one. So what we've done so far, I'll play through the parts we've learned already, and then we'll continue on with that. Okay, so you're starting off with this. And then, okay, playing it kind of slow so you can stay along with me. Now, I'm going to continue on with that. Okay, so after you do these couple of hammers, then we go to the next thing. Now, one thing you also want to remember is there's a couple of other guitars playing with him on this intro. So there are some notes that you'll hear that other people are playing, and this is going to be, and I might even sometimes include some of their notes just to make your part sound better. But let's go ahead and get started with this intro. Now, after you play those couple of hammers that you did on the last video, that's where we ended. Now we're going to go into the next section. What you're going to do here, really you're playing a D chord, but instead of playing this full D chord like that, because we've got so many pull-offs from third to second, we're going to hold this chord down a little different from now on. Okay, on the first video it was okay to play the D chord, but now it's going to be better for these parts to hold it down this way. So I want you to take your middle finger and put it on the 3rd fret. Now remember, we're saying 3rd fret from the capo here. Remember, we're capoed in the 3rd fret. Okay? So instead of this being the 3rd fret, now we've got open, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, like that. Okay? So it's going to be 3rd fret from the capo with your middle finger, and then your first finger is going to go across the B, and that is on the B string, sorry. And your first finger is going to go across the B string and the G string in the 2nd fret. Now, the reason it's holding the B string while your middle finger is also holding the B string down is because you're going to do a pull-off. It's going to sound like that, okay? So, again, first finger is going to play the 2nd fret of the B string and the 2nd fret of the G string, and your middle finger is going to play the 3rd fret of the B string, okay? Your thumb's also going to come around because you need this bass note here. Your thumb's going to come around and play the 2nd fret on the thick E string. Okay? Alright, now, we've got our notes here. I want you to put your thumb on the thick E string, and then I want you to put your fingers in this order. First finger on the D string, middle finger on the G, 3rd finger on the B. Okay? So you've got those 4 strings. Now what you're going to do here is go in order from thumb, then first finger, middle finger, 3rd finger. Okay, so it's going to go. Okay? And what I did there at the end is I pulled off with that middle finger, and that's why I had my first finger there on the 2nd fret on that B string. So it's going to be E string, D string, G string, B string, pull off to where my first finger's at, okay? Okay? Now after that pull off, you got to get pretty quick to your next chord, which is a G chord, but we only need to hold down one finger on this G chord, and I'll show you what that is. So you're going to go. Okay, now what I did is, I guess you can use any finger. I like to use my middle finger for this one, but I put my middle finger on the 3rd fret of this thick E string, okay, playing that note, and I actually play that note with my thumb, and then I grab the same strings I had before, D, G, and B, with my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd finger. So I've got all 4 of those strings held again, and I just pluck them. And it's that simple. So you go through, starting at the last part, you're going to go. You let that G ring for a second, and then you pluck it again, and And I mean the G chord, not just the string, but pluck all 4 of those strings again. So hold it and then pluck it again. Then you're going to get back to your D chord. Now I typically play my D chord like this here, but you can still play it like I just showed you with that down. But I'm going to play it with my regular D formations. So I go from the G, and then G again, then D, and then I go to an A. Okay, and we learned in the last video I'm playing the A with just one finger, so it's open on the A string, and then with my first finger I'm pressing down on the 2nd fret on the D, G, and B string. Okay, and it's open on the A string, remember, so that's going to be your bass note that your thumb's going to play. Okay, so that's at the end of that little part that we just learned, so it's going to be like this, played slow. Okay, now after you play that A, you keep holding it, and you're going to go with your thumb, you're going to play open on the A string. Then with your first finger, play the D string, which is being held in the 2nd fret by your first finger. Then you're going to take your 3rd and middle finger and pluck the B and G string, which is in this, you've got held down on the 2nd fret here, and then you're going to then you're going to hammer in the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, the G string stays the same, but the B string gets hammered in the 2nd fret, or sorry, the 3rd fret. So all that together is going to sound like this. A little closer here. Okay. Okay. I will let you look at my left hand a little closer here. Closer at my right hand here. Okay, so that's how you play that section with your 2 hands together, and let's go ahead and keep going from there. After you play that A chord that we just learned, then you're kind of in position here to keep going with the D chord. But what you're going to do is, since you held down that A chord all the way across these 3 strings, the B, G, and the D, you're going to need to pull your first finger back 1 string so your D string is open. And then go back to that D chord, how I showed you to play it. It's flat across the B string and the G string, the 2nd fret, and your middle finger is going to be used in the 3rd fret of the B string. So go ahead and put that one down. Okay? And then your thumb's going to go across the E string in the 2nd fret, this E string. Okay? So we're continuing with that, just like we played at the beginning of this section. So it's thumb on the E string, then first finger on the D, middle finger plucks the G string, and then 3rd finger is going to pluck the B string, and then I'm going to do a pull off from the 3rd fret to the 2nd. Okay, so now this section in the intro changes a little bit from the verse in that he goes to this chord right here. Okay, so after you play this D right here, instead of going to the G chord, you go up to this. Your first finger is going to be in the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, your middle finger is going to be in the 4th fret of the G string. Okay. And your 3rd finger is going to go ahead and go, let's see, that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's the 5th fret of the B string. It's ahead of your first finger. And again, we're just playing a pull off here. That's why it's in front of your first finger. So you're going to pluck the B string and the G string and then pull off with your 3rd finger to your first. Okay? So it's going to sound like this. And then you go straight to that G chord again after that. A G that we had. 3rd fret on the E string, and then on the D it's open, G it's open, and the B string it's open. Okay? Hold it, and then play it again. Then D chord, just like before, and then A chord. And then the same thing after the A chord. Open on the A string, 2nd on the D string, and then G string and B string together, hammer on the 3rd fret of the B string. So let me play that far into the intro. These finger picking songs can get kind of confusing, so let me go ahead and run through it again for you. Okay, here we go. And actually, let me call out my chords too. Let's do that. Starting at the beginning of this section that we started on at the beginning of the video, starting with our D chord. Remember, our D can look like this or like this, just depends on what section we're playing in the song. If we're going to need this pull off, then we're going to play it like this. If we don't, then I just play normal D, okay? So, it's D chord, G chord, then G chord again, then D, then A. Now we're back to the D chord. And then up here, instead of the G, go to this higher one. And then back to G chord. Play the G chord again, then D, then A. And that's where we are. Now let's go ahead and finish out this intro. After you play that, you're going to go back to your D chord again. So thumb on the 2nd fret of the E string, 1st finger and middle finger where they've gone before, and you're going to play just like you did before. Thick E string, D string, G string, then B string, pull off the 2nd fret. So, and then you guessed it, go to the G chord, then pluck the G chord again, then the D chord, then the A chord, and you play what you play after the A chord every time. It's open on the A, then 2nd fret on the D string, then B string and G string together, hammer on the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, so what I'd like to do is go through the entire intro now and call out the chords that I'm playing, and I'll play through it slowly so you can follow along, okay? Now the beginning of the intro, some of the chords are a little bit different, but starting at this section that I started in this video, it'll be pretty much the same. We're just kind of repeating some stuff. So let's start with the beginning of the intro. This is the part that you learned in video 1. So here we go. Oh, and I need to call out these chords. Let me do that. So we're at our D chord. And they're going D chord, A. Alright. Now we're starting at the beginning of this section. We're going back to our D chord, but we're doing the alternate fingering. So D chord, G, then G, D, A. Back to the D chord, then our higher chord. Back to the G, then G, D, A, and then back to our D chord, alternate fingering, G chord, then G, D, A. And that's what we've got for basically the intro of the song. I say intro, but this is actually used a lot during the actual verse of the song. And I do want to make a couple of points, reiterate these points that there are 3 guys playing acoustic guitar here. One of them is actually playing slide guitar on an acoustic, but there is another one playing acoustic guitar, and some of the notes kind of sound like they could be played by John Mayer himself. But for the most part, if you just want to use this chord progression to play the intro and then kind of strum along with the guitars during the verse and the chorus, it's always just D, D, G, then G, D, A. And that's basically the chord progression for the whole song. D, G, G, D, A. And I'm doing an alternate G there. You can do whatever G you like. And I'll make videos for that section, but I just wanted to go ahead and note that. Okay, I appreciate you watching. I know this is probably a longer video.